I begin in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment. All praise belongs to Him, and all of us have to return to Him. I am extremely grateful to the Divine Service Forever Foundation for organizing this wonderful Upgrade Yourself workshop in Bangalore today. The limited topic of my presentation today is 21st century Indian Muslim Renaissance. Ladies and gentlemen, in chapter 11, verse 7 in the Holy Quran, God says, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. That is, the purpose of creation of humanity is to test as to who amongst us is more righteous, more helpful to the fellow being. Also, in Surah Baqarah as well as in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah Ta'ala says, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ twice. That is, compete, indulge into healthy competition with each other in good deeds. Friends, we are welcoming our upcoming generations to the world of awakening under challenging circumstances. We need to note that life is a struggle, a perseverance, and it is not a right to be just taken away. We also need to realize that the community is internally self-sufficient. Justice Rajendra Sachar report of 2006 had said that the Muslim community of India is lagging behind other communities in all the parameters of social, economic, and educational fields. And the report had said that the very low presence of the community in the governance of India is the reason for this backwardness. In the Lok Sabha, there are 543 seats at the rate of 14.2, which is the national Muslim percentage. There should be 77 Muslims in the Lok Sabha. But ever since the first Lok Sabha was formed in 1952 till today, the average number of Muslims in any Lok Sabha has been less than 25. Same is the case with the state assemblies and local bodies like municipal committees, corporations, town area committees, panchayats, zilla parishads, taluka committees, etc. The reason for that is that while selecting the constituencies and wards to reserve these for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, Section 91C of the Delimitation Act passed by Parliament and the statutory rules made by different states for this purpose are not followed properly. So, what is the long-term answer? The long-term solution is empowerment through well thought out systematic institutionalization, self-empowerment. Pause for a moment and think who reserves or de-reserves the constituencies and wards. It's the district collector, who is also the district election officer. The broad question is, who rules the nation? And the answer is that more than 90% of the policy formulation and lawmaking and decision making and obviously law and order are done by the civil services. Thus, the larger purpose of joining civil services is not only employment of an individual, but also the empowerment of the deprived sections of society. A boy or girl can surely become a doctor, engineer, chartered accountant, advocate, teacher, professor, computer expert, etc. But on top of each one of them would be sitting there a senior government officer. So through getting into the civil service, one doesn't only obtain a suitable job, but one also empowers the deprived people. So let us answer the call of duty. The current ground reality is that there are 1 million candidates appearing every year for the civil services examinations conducted by UPSC, and on the basis of that only 700 are selected. So the answer is systematic hard work, and the responsibility for that lies on our shoulders. It's amusing to note that in 1883, more than a century ago, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan had established Mohammedan Civil Services Fund Association, and he was very successful in that project. Also, it's important that we need to change the strategy whenever needed. And in that regard, I wish to point out here that till a few years ago, the annual intake through the civil services examination was 1100, and now it has come down to 700. It's important to note. And another concomitant feature in recent times is that the government has started lateral entry, that is direct appointment at senior levels of the civil services. It's a sovereign power, no problem in that. The government is there to decide for itself. But then we, the people, need to note it for making any suitable changes in our approach. And that's why I say that do aim for the moon, but try to land at least in the stars. Do prepare for civil services, but also simultaneously appear for the central police organizations, state services examinations, that is provincial public service commissions, staff selection commission, bank probationary officers, and so on and so forth. Friends, we are obliged to pay 2.5% of our wealth annually as zakat. But the real test is in what we do of the remaining 97.5% of our wealth. And that is governed by Ulil Afwa, 2.219, Surah Baqarah 2.219, where Allah Ta'ala says, O Prophet, peace be upon you, your people are asking you how much we should spend in the way of Allah. Tell them that retain for yourself only that much which is required genuinely for carrying out good life for yourself and for your dependents. And whatever remains does not belong to you. That needs to be spent for the needy. So based on that, high rents in the cities, we need to realize, are a deterrent for those from lower income households to access higher level of education. So therefore, let us provide hostel facilities at reasonable costs for students separately for girls and boys. There is a scheme of the Government of India, Ministry of HRD, Department of Education. It's known as SPEMM, Scheme for Providing Education in Madrasas and Minorities. So the one part, that is scheme for providing quality education in madrasas, is there for the last quarter of a century. And the features include provision of the salary of the teachers who are employed by the madrasas for teaching science, mathematics, English, social studies, subjects like that, and computer sciences. that's a wonderful scheme, but not many people are taking advantage of that, so kindly reach out to the madrasas and persuade them. And the second part of this scheme is infrastructure development for minority institutes. That also one should take advantage of. Ladies and gentlemen, I have also to mention today that half of the population are females, but we are not doing enough to bring them at par with the male population. We need to change our attitude, because the female gender makes the life meaningful, and she is the conscience keeper of the society. In the first revelation of the Holy Quran, there is also mention of the word qalam, allazi allama bil qalam. Okay, so qalam has been changing shapes, but in the 21st century, which is our century, the qalam is the keyboard of the computer. So all these students, boys and girls, even grown-ups, all the madrasa students also must be encouraged to take full advantage of the qalam, which is the internet today, the positive aspects. And the finger of shahada should be used at the keyboard. That is the fusion that is required to be done. So friends, inna Allah la yughayyiru ma bi qawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah Ta'ala says that we will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. If we opt to be dust, we will disappear in thin air. If we decide to be stone, we can break the toughest glasses. And therefore, I appeal to all of you to join together in the hot pursuit of a renaissance that will lead to our ultimate goal of excellence and empowerment. وبالله التوفيق والهداية وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين.